I will say, though, is I personally prefer Astralis' draft, especially when they get Carlson on an Aurelia into an R, which is known for deleting that champion.
And this is an interesting narrative point as well. Because for the longest time as a weak sider, let's be honest, Carlson have not showed up. He does not do well when he really doesn't get the resources to pull ahead. But if we go back to the most successful week one of Astralis, when he was on the Renekton, when he was facilitated, we were talking about it. He was deathless. He was the one racking up kills. He was diving into the enemy backlines on the Renekton. Like, this is his bread and butter as a champion, as a stylistic. So having that matchup with Aurelia into the Na, I want to see him get played for. I want to see Chrisberg and Vendel be the bot lane that just absorb pressure. Because there's honestly not going to be much, because it's the exact same role for Odie and Joel, where they're also just kind of chilling. They're kind of just waiting for items, for scaling. It allows C-Boys to play for other lanes or C-Boys to be played for. I think Bifrost's point of attack in this game, in the early game when we speak of that, will be getting priority with Fury into the Victor matchup, because Syndra can't do that. And then you need to find some favorable skirmish with the Viego. You stun up with the CC chain. You just get the kills and you try and pull ahead like that. Because I do agree with the desk as well, saying that winning lanes or just like going offside when we get into the teamfight stages, it can be rather difficult playing against the Astralis composition, especially when you get to have a Cillian that just get lanes for free.
And I was definitely having a moment of deja vu as we were watching that draft as well. And of course, that wasn't just because Zillion was there, and that's kind of half his deal, is the whole deja vu and seeing people have to die multiple times the same way again. But on day one of this week, or back on the Monday, Bifrost ran the Senna, the Tahm Kench, the Viego into Veneer and got the win off it. They also had the Ahri and a Camille for Shikari at that point, though, while Fury hovered the Ahri, didn't lock it in. So it's clearly a combo, these three champions, that Bifrost feel very comfortable on. C-Boy had a phenomenal Viego game at that point, so maybe there's something they know or feel comfortable with this draft that we're not necessarily seeing as yet, but
I think it's also comfort. Like, it goes down to, once again, what's have worked out in Scrim. We know they've already played this composition. Them playing it now again just means, like, yes, this is something they've practiced in the past. First picking the Viego here, I think it is just that comfort from the side of C-Boy as well, of this champion. You don't want to show too many cards already this early in the draft. If you first pick Senna, it's doable, but it kind of tells the story already that you want to play topside, although Astralis was on red side, so they still just waited it out so they could get that counter pick for Carlson on 5.
And in fairness, when Bifrost have looked at their best, it's often been when C-Boy has been looking really excellent on the Pixie Ping. I'm thinking of the Poppy game he had into X7 to get the win for Bifrost that really put them on the radar earlier on in the split. And sometimes when he's been a bit quieter, Bifrost have looked a little bit more shaky. Same, honestly, for Odie and Duel. When they've not managed to get the rolls going, it's been a bit tougher.
Now, tracking up the early junglers here are that the Taxa has pathed off towards the top side, C-Boy pathed out down towards the bot side. C-Boy could have tried to look for a gank, but quite honestly, the bot lane of Astralis should know that he's made his way down there. Taxa skipped camps to try and see if he could find a favorable gank timer on Shikari, was not able to do so, and therefore has now to go back, pilot the a little backpedal rather, a little bit, to make sure that the camps goes to level 2 after he's slain them.
Absolutely. We'll need to keep our eyes on that. Does get the clear done, but we'll keep our eyes on those experience points.
Working up towards top side.
What do you know? Aurelia into Na, very volatile matchup, and Carlson with the fully stacked passive. Maybe look for somebody, look at Taxa.
It's a good read so far from C-Boy, because look at the wave state right now. It's Shikari with a slow push into Carlson. Taxa, though, know that Shikari needs to step up as well, so let's see how this one plays out.
He's there, he's got the Spectral Morph, but Taxa's around, it's a counter gank on the counter gank. C-Boy taken very low, flashing away, but still gets stunned up by the floor duet. They both got Conqueror. Carlson gets the W of First Blood, but there's no reset available because, of course, the jungler has died. Shikari trying to trade back best he can. Carlson into the bush, can't quite get on top of the Gnar, and it will be the 1-for-1, but it is Aurelia that gets the first blood, and therefore with the slight advantage. Bot side, remember this is how it played out the last time. Duel loves to be so aggressive with those abyssal dives. It might not be the Senatal Kench of old, but Duel loves to play that one face first.
Now, I'm just curious here, Carsten. Barely any mana. Shikari almost reaching Mecca.
There's no flash. I think he's in trouble. I think he's just done. Surely there's no way out. He's dead.
Oh, and Carlson, once again, we talked about it. He's had an inconsistent start. rather split in general. And let's have a look at the replay once again, because it is a really good read from C-Boy. Great flash away from Carlson immediately to just make sure he won't go down. But the damage is still in favor from the side of Shikari and from C-Boy. They are the duo that's duoed up, where Carlson and Taxa, they're a bit disjointed.
And that's going to be a frustrating moment for Carlson. He got the first blood, but I think at that point, you just have to back away, especially when you don't have the mana and no flash.
Oh, yes.
With the Mega now coming up, there's just unfortunate choice and decision making there, a little overeager, and it now leaves Shikari with the steel caps. And this is a man that we know is incredibly consistent, and when you give him an advantage, he doesn't throw his way. He is very responsible with his leads, which I can't always say about some of the other carries we have in this game and in the NLC in general.
Another thing that is quite curious to me, or I'd like to praise as well from the side of Bifrost, is Odie and Joel, because they've actually managed to stop Chrisberg from CSing quite a bit down towards the bot side lane. Staying even as a Tam Kench into a range of the Jhin and going against the Cillian as well, it shouldn't really happen. But they've made sure to force them away greatly with Odie's pressure in lane, and just made sure to body block with Joel, absorb the damage with the thick skin, so Chrisberg just can't step up and CS with a deathly flourish every time towards the canyon. Now off towards the top side, flash still available for Shikari.
Vanguard's edge is going to go straight back onto Carlson, but he gets Nard away. Shikari has got the mini Nard, so the speed up there with the hyper proc is available, and he just gets to walk away. He's so clean. It was a nice attempt by Carlson, but just not quite synced up.
And Carlson can freeze the wave outside of the turret, which would be great considering his jungler is on the opposite end of the map. But this could also be Astralis diving too far forward with their bot laners.
Tried to make that work, couldn't quite get the combo off this time, and Odie takes a bit of a chunk. It's the heal that is popped, but of course, Chrisberg down the flash right now. Does need to be a bit wary as Wendell nowhere near a level 6. There is the Spectral Maw, but a time warp slows C-Boy down to a crawl and will allow Astralis spot lane to escape, but they are losing so much because of it. That's a lot of XP.
It is, and like right now, you wouldn't mind losing if your top laner was doing the exact same thing to Shikari right now, but the fact is he's just not. Shikari's been outplaying the matchup in the top side of the map. Now down towards the bottom side, you're still taking heavy poke. C-Boy could have still stayed around as well for this one. And even when he's not, you can still see it. Chrisberg, Vendel, they're pushed so far back by the poke of Odie.
And this is not a lane I tend to consider, yeah, they're going to take towers super quickly. Senna was notorious back when turret players first came in for being an awful champion to flip Herald over, because you would stay bot and Aphelios would go to take the Herald, and Senna could take half a play, just couldn't match up. And despite that, they're playing it so well. They played it so well on Monday as well. Remember the 2v1 double kill from Duel on the Tam Kench?
Exactly, and now Taxa just around in terms the dive would be coming through, and it does come through. Joel,
he's going to try and get it anyway. That's going to be so much damage from the Ignite. I think he just gets it. He'll die in trade, but that's just a statement.
Yeah, carry for carry down towards the bot side there. Joel picking up a kill for himself, and Taxa, a good read on the potential dive here, but once again, Bifrost, they're not falling behind. Quite on the contrary. They're actually still ahead right now.
Yeah, it turns out when I'll think about how to phrase that one a little bit better in a second, as we've got a fight going on instead, as Wendell does force a flash out at Odie. Yes, Duel just managing to dive in on top of Chrisberg there, did such a good job.
But now they have the vision of Taxa, they have the priority of the mid lane, they have the priority of the top side in the side of Bifrost, and with this, C-Boy should just be able to start up the Herald for himself. Joel even out roaming.
Press did spot Duel coming on over as well there, so just not have to burn anything. Throws out the Rammus, okay. Gets to back out, and C-Boy free to start up the Herald. No contest, no one's come over, and there it is, easy as you like.
Just like that, didn't even have to move up your bot laner. Yes, you had Joel in the mid lane, but with all the pressure coming through from the solo lanes of Bifrost, it's just as easy as it can get from the side of C-Boy. And this is an interesting Herald, because you don't really have that great carry on the roster right now that you just want to say, all right, let's get you ahead. So you can just be using this one for the mid lane as well to just set up that pressure where it becomes easier taking down the sides later with a low HP turret in the mid lane.
They can certainly look to do it. They've certainly got the tools to do it. Syndra plus Viego is enough CC to make Victor's life quite difficult. I mean, if you can combo that into the tower afterwards, it's a nice play, and it's a pretty standard one in the current map.
And have a look at this. 4 ranged minions right outside of your turret. Bifrost has stacked them up. Means that it's just a freeze right now from the side of Shikari. So Carlson, he needs Taxa to break this freeze. They're not necessarily just going for gank here. They just need to crash the lane so Carlson can get a decent back put. Shikari, he's relentless. Now, with these three, I'm not too sure it's going to stay at 3s, just due to the fact one of them is a little bit low. But Carlson, he's still going to be forced to recall here. Shikari almost got TP up and available soon as well. Match with Carlson can just push this lane in, and Carlson, once again, is just going to lose a wave.
I imagine he could probably turn that into a slow push as well, and if he can manage his Narbar, it's about a minute until this next dragon. Carlson won't want to give up that wave. He's not got the teleport. It should mean that there's a free opportunity to both pressure this bot side as they've got the Herald. Whether they'll drop it or not is another matter, because they might not even need to.
I don't even think they have to use it, right? You just take it slow. The more waves you can drop from the side of Astralis here, the greater. You have 4 minutes to work with before plating falls. You don't even need to get the turret right now, because this turret right now is just removing resources of the map from Astralis. Every minion taken but this turret right now is gold, experience, taken away from Chrisberg, but Odil gained at the same time, and Jewel here, so it's just Bifrost in complete control of the map. In a draft where we said they might be playing it from the back air foot in the early game, they've completely flipped that analogy around.
All right, Duel could be in a spot of bother here. Where's the free Talon Strike? Do they have it available to interrupt the Abyssal Dive? They do, so that will force Duel to flash rather than use the W, and Taxa manages to punish a little bit there, but the tower still goes down. Bifrost still up a significant amount of gold. That's about 3,000 here at the 10-minute mark, and that was not what I was expecting from what we potentially anticipated to be a relatively low-impact lane early on.
Yeah, you're completely right about that one, and I mean, you do still have members to play for from the side of Astralis. Crest can be scary, creating ground around him. The problem is that he's going to be having a hard time stepping up to a Cinder, stepping up to, well, I say stepping up to the center, but the fact of the matter is that that's going to be a Tahm Kench in front of that center, who's ready to gobble her up and just give her that insane amount of shield.
With the way Duel's been playing, it's more like he's going to dive straight onto you. You stare into the abyss, and the Abyssal Dive stares right back.
We saw it Monday, right? He just dived into the enemy team. Trouble was mentioning it as well. There were 2 versus 9. Wait, sorry, that was Trouble saying. There were 2 versus 8. And they were just completely taking over that game.
Blade of the Ruin King completed for C-Boy. Very appropriate, really, considering the champion has the ability name as well. Of course, Q is the name of the Blade of the Ruin King, so synergizing up there, at least lore-wise, we appreciate it. And looking like C-Boy, not a huge amount of time left with that Herald, so I think it'll just be dropped off.
It's going to be now, for sure. You're completely right about that.
And they're going to get a hold of this one. OD's here for even more gold, and there's nothing Carlson can do to stop this. And another lane that should have been a counter lane, not going to plan. Hullbreak is complete. Tower falls down. Bifrost extending this gold by up to 5,000 at this point.
It looks sad for Astralis right now, because even when they're coming through with their rotations, they're just responding. Nothing is gained on the map. Wherever Bifrost is dictating the next play to be, Astralis isn't finding a crossbar. Astralis isn't finding plays down at the bot side right now. They're responding to a play that they're just essentially losing out on once again, and 13 minutes into the game, 4K gold lead right now. Irelia behind, definitely not what you wanted to see. The Victor behind as well. Yeah, we did expect that coming through from the laning phase. Tahm Kench more gold than the Jhin at this point.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Every member at Bifrost right now is just showing up. And it's difficult once again for Astralis to play Thor. And
if Astralis still want to consider playoffs, they need to make up 3 games on the very minimum. Riddle are currently the team that are kind of locking out or playing gatekeeper for the bottom spots. You need to get to 7 wins. You are currently on 4. You have got 5 games to make that difference up, and you need to hope Riddle don't win too many more games. That is a problematic situation.
Most definitely is. And I mean, they still have to deal with this problematic situation before they start dealing with the forthcoming ones. And you can see the movement right now from Bifrost on the map as well, who's already played this phenomenally. They're taking care of all the altitude first. They can now push in the sides, then gather around the mid lane if that's what they're looking for, and just wait for the response once again from Astralis. When you push out the bot side, they'll have to move on members from Astralis right now, as you can see. When that happens, you can push Fury back towards the mid lane.
Sure.
And then when the wave has been pushed back by Astralis, well, that's the timer window from Fury. He's just going to move back down towards the bot side. So it's the fact that Bifrost right now, on every lane, gets to play the dictating part of the wave push.
Yeah, and the waves are crashing, and it's Shikari with a hull breaker to make sure that Astralis will be left floundering against the reefs that Bifrost are putting up. And with a Thornmail, with steel caps, with hull breaker, this counter matchup is like, it cannot do anything anymore.
But have a look at it, right? Take a look at Fury right now. He's doing exactly what we just talked about, right? Pushed in the bot side. Now the stack came in through the bottom side. Is he going to miss any minions? maybe one. But
there
yeah, that's all he missed for that rotation. But it's the fact they keep moving pressure around that Astralis has to respond to. And it's this push that's coming through from Bifrost all the time that they need to break somehow. Taxa looking forward with some vision control right here, because there is not a lot of vision control from Bifrost. But even then, Fury smelled him out. And while they're attacking the bot side turret for Astralis right now, well, what's the move from Riddle, or Bifrost rather? Well, they are taking care of the Rift Herald.
They already got the first one. They did so much work with it. They can use the second to break open that mid lane turret that you said would be a little bit problematic to get through otherwise. And C-Boy, this is the second Herald this game where he's been able to sit there and solo it. Happy as you like playing PvE without any contest from Astralis. They have yet to get a turret of Astralis. They are down, what, that's 3,000 gold, 3,500 gold. That is a vast discrepancy right now into a composition that feels like it scales pretty well, especially because you've got the Senna ahead and scales super well.
And right, you can use this Herald in the mid lane. You can even move it up towards the inner turret on the top side as well. There's so many possibilities for Bifrost, because inevitably it looks like Astralis will crumble under the pressure, but if you take care of this mid lane turret first, taking care of the inner turrets and the side lane is going to be even easier afterwards, because then you can use the movement we just saw from Fury in the bot side in the mid lane instead. You push in the mid lane, then you move to a side lane and collapse on a lane that's so easy to dive, because there's just, you're trapped against a wall. There's not a lot of movement for anyone who's defending an inner turret in a side lane.
And here it goes again. It's just good map management from Bifrost right now. It started off with some good plays in the lanes, yes, but now they are just running Astralis all over the place. And I made that nautical reference earlier. Astralis really are floundering right now.
Yes, but look at the pings are coming through from one ward. Carlsen is in a position to TP into the tri-bush as well. And I think Astralis recognizes either we win this fight or we're just going to get completely blasted throughout the next times of the game. So Carlsen in a position to attack now.
And they find a way to right this ship. Carlsen is into the backline, but look how much damage is just done by Duel, who does at least manage to go down in the end. It's a 2-for-none right now. Bifrost over the wall, secured the dragon, but did lose 2 in trade. Carlsen over the wall. He has got the Vanguard. Just a double for Chrisberg. And somehow, some way, they found this turnaround. The teleport was there. The call was correct. Odie cannot save his top laner. Taxa stays alive. Crest puts down the gravity field, but the Dawning Shadow comes through and gets kill back onto Taxa. But he is the sole sacrifice for a full team ace for Astralis. Much needed.
And that was the play we set up. Astralis, they had to make that word if they wanted to stay in the game. TP comes through from Carlsen. And quite honestly, Bifrost are scattered. They're fighting two fronts right now. The Cillian ultimate, as we already talked about, is giving you so much extra pressure to play around. So the fact that Taxa gets to stay alive, tank all this damage, while Fury has gone down to Crest and Carlsen, and the follow-up comes through with a great flash from Carlsen here, is brilliant from Astralis, and exactly what they needed to get back into this game and make it competitive.
And that is going to be a mark of frustration for Bifrost. They had such a clean early game, but that mistake loses them all of the control they had, so much of the gold lead, and it brings Astralis back into it. And that was so much better around an objective where we have consistently criticized them through the split. Their dragon setups, their dragon fights have often lost them games.
They have, and this time around they had to come through from some black backline access. They found it, but how many times are they going to find that? Because, oh, okay, let's see. They found Vendel here to start.
That's a good use there. Time Warp is used to get him to run away. C-Boy will get rooted in trades. There's not going to be much room to chase after that. Zillion will have to back. And the one thing Astralis don't have in a great deal is easy ways to face check, as Fury will take a hefty Chaos with it.
Great movement from Crest.
He's trying to bait it, but it will be the 1v1 solo kill. Fury tried to bait it and got deleted in play instead. Taxa now might have gone too deep. There's a Devour through. And an Abyssal Dive will get C-Boy out to safety alongside that Devour. And Astralis coming alive in the mid-game.
Quite honestly, Crest just showing up there and the Victor. A guy we've not really have too much to say about. Like, I don't know if criticize is correct, because he's just been on control measures all the time, just farming, right? It's kind of just a job that you have, but you're right. Definitely have not proven to show the same value Crest or Sencox used to have in the past. But that time around, completely styled on Fury, sidestepped all the abilities, and just found an all-in-all great 1v2 solo kill.
Veteran of the European League of Legends scene, showing some of his caliber here, and it's nice to see some of that returning here in this game. Great kill for him, looking like he's going towards what looks to be, I think, is that going to be a Shadow Flame I'm looking at with the items there, or an event?
Oh yeah, that's a Shadow Flame.
Yeah, that's what I had. A moment there of madness thinking, Event
Horizon would, Horizon Focus wouldn't really come through here on Victor.
The reason I keep saying Event Horizon is cast so much Veigar recently.
We just had a Vector. Veigar the previous game, of course. Now, moving in with the mid lane, you can put this priority. Just push the mid lane in, move down towards the bot side, see if you can attack Shikari on the Gnar.
Carlson, is he going to take the bait? Seaboy is around. There is about a minute and a half until this next dragon. Shikari, even with the Mega Gnar, is losing this one, but does get the stun. Cress is roamed down, though. Dawning Shadows will make sure that Carlson dies regardless.
Feels like a way too early play from the side of Carlson there, because Mega Gnar was there. You didn't utilize the fact that your team had the first move from the Vira either. And yeah, just caught lacking once again from Carlson. Just seems like the wrong decisions at the wrong time. So now, double TP, Cress up towards the top side in response of Shikari's teleport as well to stop him from taking down the inner turret.
Does be a little bit afraid of it. Cress is relatively quick here with the Q movement speed. Siphon Power offering a little bit more gas to the mechanical legs, but does manage to get out of dodge. Minute or so until this next dragon. It would be soul point for Bifrost, and while they did absolutely pay a heavy price for their first Mountain Drake, they will surely be looking to set up for this next one. 65 souls on Senna, not quite at that 70 soul break point that a lot of people mentioned in times gone past, but might well be getting close to it by the time that dragon spawns.
Yeah, and you know, pivotal part once again is the fact that Cillian is a champion on this map. Shurelya should be finished up shortly from Vendel as well, and yeah, there we have it. Just came through in the inventory. And this gives you so much room to play around with, especially in a composition that plays around range, because this Jhin can become so fast that he can dodge out on all the CC from the side of Bifrost. You can sidestep a Scatter of the Weak if your movement is good enough, which we have seen in the past from Chrisberg. Also seen it hasn't been in the past from Chrisberg. So it's going to be curious to see how they show up with this tool in their kit.
For a team that has struggled with consistency, struggled over the course of the split in general, Chrisberg has still been putting up excellent numbers. He is a player that has been relied on from Astralis to the damage. Something like about 612 DPM as it stands, one of the highest in the league. Mount Dragon is spawned, second item is complete for Chrisberg, and Cress not there for Bifrost, and that could be detrimental at this pivotal fight.
But it's once again, the positioning from Astralis is not bad. It's the same setup they just had before, with Cress and Carlton coming through from the bottom side. It's a pincer movement.
Taxa takes a lot of damage. It's Shikari stepping forward, looking for the Mega. No Crescent Guard popped. He goes Resurrection, thanks to a Chrono Break. Sorry, Chrono Shift, I apologize. Can't get the reset Conceival. That means Heartbreaker is down. Taxa with the Crescent Guard down does present a target, but the curtains are opened and they're going to try and close this dragon out in the favor of Astralis. Health bars are chunked, Wendell is low, but it's Astralis right now with position around the dragon.
Play around Cress, he still has the Chaos Storm, and you can just beat him up with the Cillian all the time. Finding that pivotal movement speed to dive in will be crucial.
Tongue Lash will not get what they wanted. Duel has gone too deep. He's trying to heal up, will just about survive, but now falls to Chrisberg, who's on a killing spree. Seaboy looking to maybe hunt Cress, who's stepping forward, but he's gone too deep. That could be dangerous for the Victor, who does have the flash to escape. Won't quite die to the burn until the Dawning Shadow!
Double!
Takes it for a double. Odie coming to claim some souls.
That's a sweeper right there. Just a vacuum cleaner over the rift, sucking up those kills. Brilliant from Odie, but once again, Drake goes over to Astralis, and you can see how difficult these fights become once the movement speeds come through from Cress. Enabled by Vendel and the Cillian, but with these devs, Bifrost, they're just going to be starting up the Baron instead.
It's what they need. Make it a UNSC reference. That Macrown was spinning up, takes out two, and with the support and mid laner dead, it is a Baron start. Taxa is here with Flash, Crescent Guard shortly. Can contest. This would be a flip. There's the teleport. Baron has not started to reset until just now, and they'll take that teleport as a win and force a flash out of Chrisberg, and Bifrost will take those as the reward. And back out, we've got the replay to see how this started, because the flash from Duel may be a little overeager.
It may be a little overeager, but it's also a great ultimate from Cress that just zones Fury away from the fight, and it makes sure that Vendel can stay alive even after Flash Tongless. Cress then stepping too forward, getting too greedy from Shikari, but great positioning from Seaboy, who's put himself in a great spot through the fog of war. And then this, I mean, it's just great here. Vendel tries to save him with the movement speed. Flash was even up and available for him, decided not to use it, and just falls in that instance. Chrisberg
has got Gale Force, so will be okay without the flash. Gets to back away, doesn't fall, and Bifrost still with a healthy lead, but they don't secure that dragon, of course. But it does feel that way at the minute, that these mountain dragons are becoming a very pricey objective to secure.
Oh, most definitely, especially if you can start stacking them up. Now, this time around, Cress against Shikari in a side lane. Seems like he's getting the benefit of these short-handed traits. Obviously playing off the cooldowns of his abilities. Also has gotten that Leandris finished up, so great against the target with a little bit more of HP, and having him pushing down towards the bottom side of the map, you can see the rest of Astralis moving up towards that Baron, trying to stay with defensive vision active. But Bifrost, they're trying to contest that at the same time as well, and we've just come into this little war of attrition, really, of control of the map instead, while the objectives are down.
Now, my knowledge might be a little outdated here, but I believe 80 souls is another range increase point for Senna, getting to be increasingly difficult to get on top of. Carlson, though, has managed to even up a lot of the early deficits, now at 2 items, up in CS, is a side lane threat again legitimately. And this game, I think it's fair to say, is still Bifrost favored, but Astralis are in the position where they can still play this out, can still find a way back into this game. The Aurelia, the Victor, even the Jhin right now, very much in a position to do the damage required.
Oh, definitely, but you still want to wait a little bit for Astralis actually getting to 3 items on the Jhin, picking up a rapid-fire cannon as well, with Cillian speeding you up, is great, because what essentially ends up happening is just you get movement speed on the Jhin, you run around for that 1 extra long proc of your auto attack with the rapid fire cannon, and you just run back until you get the range again, and you just keep walking back and forth. And both Cillian, or both Jhin and Victor are great champions being facilitated by Cillian.
Bifrost, I think, are in a very dangerous position, about to get teleported. It's a good scout of the week to prevent too much of a follow-up as Fury flashed over the wall. It's into the waiting on to Chrisberg. The flanking Jhin is the deadliest. Gets the kill over onto Fury. And now the curtains are called, and C-Boy needs to have his dancing shoes on. The Spectral will allow 1 miss. And the 4th shot blind will not find its target.
In the mid lane, though, they are picking up a turret for themselves, or they're very close to at least. Taxa wants to stop it, but flank comes through from Bendel.
Odie, so difficult to deal with. Taxa's gone forward, he's going to take so much damage. Will now have to resurrect, but I'm not sure for how long. Odie's looking to secure another kill. It's Duel that secures it, and Taxa went speeding to his death there.
And that can be very dangerous. 1 reset to come through from Bifrost. They can start setting up around the Baron. 10 seconds on Fury as well, but they're going to use this extra pressure to just run down the mid lane instead, trying to break open the inhibitor turret.
And Odie didn't even have to burn flash or heal or Dawning Shadow, so difficult to deal with. Crest being sped up though, Kastara trying to run people down, but the piercing darkness beginning to hit for so much damage. This Senna is now a problem, is now dangerous, is at 2. Make that 3 items if you include the support item, that Spectral Sickle that's fully stacked up. And I need to see Astralis find a way to shut down this Senna, because it's getting hard.
It is definitely getting hard, but once again, backline access is what we're looking for. It also becomes harder from the side of Bifrost to play in an open scenario with the Victor. This time around, though, they had a man advantage, which allowed them to be aggressive instead. But playing in a full 5 versus 5 with Cillian all available to Astralis, it can be difficult. But as you're saying right now, Bifrost, they're definitely looking like the team ahead.
And that rapid-fire cannon you were requesting has been completed for Chrisberg. Can he rename to the Fast? Can he turn into an after-image? He's going to need to hit Mach 5 to outplay that, though, as that is a vast quantity of damage, down to 1/3. Dragon started, secured. That's so point. Stunned in place is Taxa, but he's got a Crescent Guard to prevent too much follow-up. What can Carlson do in trade? Not too much, and the scout of the week from Fury chunks him out as well. And Bifrost get the kill and get out. The first time in 2 Drakes, there isn't a vast team fight win for one team or the other.
Great zoning from the side of Fury. You saw what he did to Chrisberg. Could barely join the fight, and Cress too late to the party as well. So a freebie for Bifrost, and they managed to disengage beautifully as well, allowing them to just reset on the map. Jewel potentially getting caught out, but the Abyssal Dive allows them to just get over the wall. And nothing further has happened. They get their resets through, and we talked about it, 3 items before, 2 items for the center before. They're still building up the goal discrepancy in their favor for themselves as well.
Absolutely, and 3-0, 3-0 Syndra. Fury definitely doing a fair amount of work with those Scout of the Weeks. With that Shadow Flame now complete, definitely doing enough damage. As Duel, maybe in a spot bother, but Chrisberg caught out trying to make a pick himself, has got the Gale Force to back out from Duel's Abyssal Dive, and now Duel has maybe gone too deep. Not quite yet, he's not entered the Abyss forever. Carlson at the back end of it with the Vanguard's Edge, trying to outplay C-Boy in a dangerous position as well. Rooted is Carlson, so can't follow up. Heartbreaker over the wall, gets C-Boy to safety. And Astralis may look to chase Bifrost through their own blue side jungle. Not quite yet. A big piercing darkness hits hard alongside the Bone Meringue.
It's so difficult for Astralis because they're so reliant on this burst damage to come through. They don't have any form of immediate engage. So they have to try and chase them down. They have to be reliant on the movement speed. But Bifrost, as soon as they start kiting back, as soon as you got the scatter or the eat as well from Jewel, you can just never really finalize a kill. And it's allowing Bifrost to get away, even from moments where it seemed like Astralis was put in a good position, because it was a good flank from Carlson with the TP to come through. Great stun as well. But you didn't have it in you.
Yeah, and
finalize any of the kills.
And that is something of a problem, right? There's not hard CC, per se, unless Taxa gets a 3 Talon Strike. That's not easy. You've got ways to dive, you know. Aurelia and, of course, the Jin's out. Definitely got ways to do that, especially with Brazilian speed up on top of you. But it's not Meganar hitting 4 people over the wall.
Definitely not. And it's a rather upsetting situation from the side of Astralis, because they would have liked to be in a more favorable position at this point in the game. But now, Odie finished up that Moron mana for himself as well. He's going to be doing a lot of damage on the center if he goes unchecked, and if he's allowed to stack on those auto attacks on you.
And room 101, make that 102. The reference is going to fall slightly flat for those 1984 fans now, but that is the soul count for Senna, and I think she is a bit of a nightmare at this point with those 3 items complete. She knows exactly how to make it. It has a very excruciating time for anybody who gets hit by any of those abilities right now.
I think you're just waiting currently from the side of Astralis. You can see those 2 needlessly large rods in Crest inventory.
Huge.
They want that rapid and death cap as well, and honestly, you want the Infinity Edge on the Jhin as well. Like, quite often, we don't talk about composition spiking on 4. We always talk about the 3-item pass by Chrisberg.
Scatter the weak comes through, but it's a flash from Chrisberg to boot that will allow him out. Flash for Flash, Fury and Chrisberg down those key summoners, but it does force the Jhin back. It does force the side of Astralis to cede this mid lane. Tier 3 inhibitor exposed, minute and a half till Dragon, and Bifrost continuing to make slightly more profitable plays over the last 10 minutes or so.
Oh, definitely. And this is just such a difficult situation when you're up against this stacked mountain, because it's 6% extra in those resistances. Currently, they're sitting at 12, right? They're going to be moving up to the 18. Oh, wait, no, I'm definitely getting my numbers wrong there. It's at 4%. I think they're sitting at 8, making their way up to 12. Like, all in all, you're going to be needing true damage as well, or the armor pen as well. And you currently have it from your carries, but is it going to be enough? Because 1 extra item of defensives, especially on this time Kench, he just becomes so difficult to cut through.
It's a death cap complete for Crest, and that is great news. But the flat pen from the Shadow Flame, less valuable, as you said, with those Mountain Dragons that have come through. And there is no Void Staff to be seen as yet. You're right, the 4 items becoming more and more necessary, it feels like. The Abyssal Dive not interrupted there, so Duel does manage to escape. Last Embrace comes through and Taxa, taken down to a 3rd HP. Needs to be very afraid. Sped up his Crest, that is a very rapid Victor. The Glorious Evolution moving at Mach 5, definitely hitting the technology boom, it feels like, at this point.
This time around, Astralis finally first on the river here, trying to get control. If they can put Carlson in a flank position as well, they can be really, really crucial. They don't have the vision. Taxa's run forward.
Gets onto Fury, chunked out, but it's devoured to safety. Stun onto Wendell, but that's not the big point. Carlson off the side, Flash, Vanguard's Edge onto Fury in trade. Seaboy taken so low. 1 dead. Meganar will be the prize right now. Make that 3 for none as Astralis make the engage work. Opportunities be damned. Duel will try to turn this around. Odie is still a threat, but chunked out. Rooted.
He's gonna die.
On the deadly flurry. He's gonna try to heal up. He tanks for so long, but a siphon power will take the soul of Odie. It's a 4 for none now for Astralis, who will not take the dragon. In fact, they do, because Carlson ran over to take it, and now they move to Baron, and they found the play they needed.
Definitely, they should be able to pick this one up, and we were just talking about what it meant to have 2 Mountain Drakes against you. Well, now Astralis, they're the ones sitting at it. And that's just definitely going to put yourself in a greatest position when you start team fighting as well. Carlson, speaking of fighting, just goes down on Jewel right now.
He can keep tanking for a long time. The stun eventually comes through there with the tongue lash and the passive. Gonna get as much done with the acquired taste as he can. Now Carlson needs to think about how dangerous he's been there. He's got the thick skin, and now he's in trouble. Does not have flash, does have Vanguard's Edge, can look to outplay, but it will be a 3v1 until Wendell comes over. Does he have the chrono shift? Does, but that is now burnt. Wendell with no mana needs to be in a dangerous possession. That will be a missed Mega Knight into the wall. The turnaround's coming through. Duel still here, still still tanking. Crest gets pushed away by the Scout of the Week. Fury 0, 4, and 0 has been struggling in this game, healed by the piercing darkness. And Carlson survives everything in the kitchen sink that Bifrost throw at him.
Yeah, that's actually incredible that Carlson manages to stay alive in that. But let's have a look at the team fight that decided it for Astralis. Close finding that stun there, but it's initially Carlton just diving forward, forcing out the abyssal dive. And now we're talking about playing with that range, because at any point in the game or in the fight right now, Bifrost is not actually able to lay down damage. They're too busy running away, and with the extra movement speed once again facilitated by this Cillian, they just can't. They can't enclose the gap, and it's Astralis that just makes the team fight work for them. Odie stepping too far forward. Great deadly flourish bomb. Chrisberg allowing Crest to pick up the kill.
Awesome stuff from Astralis. They found 2 of those incredible fights now around the Dragons. They'll need to potentially pick up some more. It's earned them a gold lead, I think, for the first time this game. That was sole point. And now with this Baron, they need to see what they can do to try and cement the lead they have.
This is where it starts becoming fun, having that Jin Cillian.
Oh, yes.
Because now the Infinity has just come through. Your 4 items. You walk up and get a 4th shot in that rapid-fire cannon, they're down to half HP. The amount of damage that you're able to pull out there is absolutely insane. Except if they're going on duel. But currently, they're playing on 2 lanes. Topside is being attacked by Shikari, but Astralis, they don't care. They're going to keep putting their resources on towards these turrets themselves, but Shikari might look to trade that himself.
Going to try and get a hold of it. Is certainly in a position with the Hullbreaker and 3 items completed to make sure that happens. Inhibitor will fall at the same time, and it might well be just a trade here, which is pretty damn good going into the Baron. And there's not going to be anybody who's back in time to stop them. Inhibitor falls in both side lanes, 1 for Bifrost, 1 from Astralis.
Yeah, they continue going there. Carlson back there, so Shikari should not be able to continue any further in the mid lane. Astralis able to pick up the turret themselves, and C-Boy might be looking for the engage.
So much damage, but does get the chrono shift off in time, but that means it's not going to be available for Crest, who has got to flash away from Fury's abilities. Will not go down there. But some key abilities down. Crest without the flash, without stopwatch, could be a very valuable target. And the moment I say it, he backs and completes the Zhonya's and makes it just that touch harder.
Yeah, you're completely right. But Astralis still showing signs of weakness, despite them being the driving factor here. But speaking of that, Fury still not being able to find his mark in this game. 0-4-0. In a game that's been vastly dominated by Bifrost as well is not what you're looking for. Especially since your scatter holds so much power in a team fight. You saw what it did there, forced out the flash from Crest immediately. You want more of that from the man in the mid lane. They used to be so star-spec here in the LEC.
They were, but right now, the journey to returning to those heights of glory will need to start with finding a way to get this win. Again, a reminder, Astralis need to pick up at least 3 wins. At least 3 wins to match the current bar to playoffs entry. That can change if Riddle win later on as well, because they are the minimum deciding factor.
But so is Vanny as well. They're going up against Shady XL after this one. Let's look at it. Chrisberg with the movement speed, with the 4th shot, with the rapid fire. Oh, he's lost vision. Come on, I just wanted to see it.
It's so close. You could see the Gale Force was maybe an option there as well, but just doesn't feel secure doing it. It does force Bifrost back into their base, though. It does force them to cede all of this vision control around this soul point fight to Astralis, who have full control of Bifrost red side jungle.
And let's look at the buys, because Vigilant Wardstone has come out from Odie as well. 12% extra resistance, adaptive power, HP, everything you want there gained by that item as well. Extra pink wards, of course, which can be great from fighting any movement. Jewel might get caught off guard by the deadly flourish, but he's still very tanky.
He's got it. Remember, this is a fed Tahm Kench. Well, that's not a support Tahm Kench per se. Level 15, same as his ADC. 3 items, including a Randuin's Omen complete, to try and mute some of the damage that Chrisberg can do on this 4-item Jin. Stopwatch onto the Maestro as well. C-Boy on a flank can come into place in Fed.
It's into
the base. Can they come back and retreat?
It's stolen!
It's stolen away. They take the soul, and now they're in their fight at the base as well. They're dying in the base. They need to stop the backs. Can Astralis even get there? No, not like this. Not in the late game. Not versus Bifrost. It happened this way the first time these teams met. It was an Elder Dragon then. It will be a soul point this time. The Dawning Shadows goes over to Chrisberg, trying to get away. Will be able to do it. What happened in the base? Shikari has come down towards this bot side, has left what was happening around there. Will secure Wendell. They'll take a Nexus tower, but won't go for the full game win. What is it today, Gulborg, with League of Legends and mad late game base pushes?
These games are getting complete out of hand right now. There's 30 seconds, 40 seconds on the Baron as well, but Bifrost right now, they're going to be having their looks on the inhibitor. They can take the mid lane one. They can reset because they're lacking a minion wave right now. No, I take that back. Fury, he's escorted it in. There's one turret left.
They've got one Nexus turret left and a play not dissimilar to Damwon and T1 earlier in the day. Might be coming to win Bifrost. This game, Tax has gone in, but the Crescent card is down. The Nexus fall, and Bifrost pull it out by the skin of their teeth.
It was messy. 10 and 4, but they find